Now, I want your calls on whether Canterbury Cathedral is right to have allowed graffiti art on its walls. 0207 862 2222. So, yeah, love your thoughts on this, because the US Vice President J.D. Vance has got involved, criticising the cathedral for allegedly making a beautiful historical building really ugly. There's his tweet. It's weird to me that these people don't see the irony of honouring marginalised communities by making, etc. They really get stuck into stuff on this side of the pond. He's complaining about these temporary art installations. Let's see. So they've been done in graffiti style. The paint is not directly onto the brickwork, just to reassure you, so they can be peeled off at some point. And the Dean of Canterbury has defended the artwork, saying it intentionally builds bridges between cultures, styles and genres, and allows us to receive the gifts of younger people who've much to say and from whom we hear much. But not everyone is a fan, and an anonymous local told the BBC the art is sacrilege. What do you think, Albie?
I was horrified when I saw this story. I just think this, it really annoys me. So they say the reason they want to, the cathedral said they partnered with Punjabi, black and brown diaspora, neurodivergent and LGBTQIA groups to put up this artwork to make them feel more represented in church. Now, as a black gay person who goes to church every week, I just find it so offensive, bigoted and arguably racist that people would think the way to make church a more inclusive place is by sticking vandalism to these centuries-old pieces of art that were built centuries ago. And I was in church yesterday thinking about this. We were receiving communion and, we're all praying. And the thought came into my head, if I saw one of those stickers on a pillar, I feel pretty annoyed about it.
You take it off.
So I don't support this whatsoever.
You're what's called a young fogey.
Yes.
Is it?
Well,
No, it must have been
it used to be
born
old fogies used to be the thing, and they would go around wearing tweed and go, things aren't like they were in my day.
I'm not
You're
saying
the young
that.
version of that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with saying in society we have standards, and in the Church of England we should not be allowing graffiti to be put up, even if it's up on a sticker.
Yasmin.
Honestly, you were born 65 years old. You must have been born 65 years old. And I am a perpetual 20-year-old because I love it. I love it because, the one thing I've really admired about Christianity all my life, we lived opposite a church when I was growing up, was its central message that this is a faith which kind of finds the least well-off, least powerful, precious human beings. I've always loved that message about it. And of course it was hijacked by the powerful Catholics and Protestants. And I love this because it is actually saying, what would you ask God to do or say? And people have put up really interesting ideas.
What's interesting about that?
Well, it says, God, what happens when I die?
Exactly.
Now, that's quite a good question.
But I can't even read what it says.
Well, that's your problem. Get lessons in graffiti reading.
Well, I don't want lessons in graffiti reading.
I mean, in
I
truth,
think it's beautiful.
the word God
and it's
looks
edgy.
more like
and
pod.
You know what? Sometimes institutions can get really precious.
Yeah.
I wish our mosque did this. I would love our mosque to do this.
It's well done. I don't know. Deb is in Southampton. I don't know what to think about this. What do you think, Deb?
Oh, hello. Good morning, Jeremy and everybody. I live in Southampton now, but I used to live in Canterbury. And Canterbury Cathedral was literally my home cathedral. There's so much history there when you think of, all sorts of things, notably Thomas the Becket. I just am horrified at the thought that they've gone and done this. I think it's desecrated a beautiful building which deserves more consideration and reverence.
Now, the interesting angle here is I gather from my young colleagues in the office that a lot more young people are now going to church. They're becoming Christians and they're into it in a way that no one predicted. I don't know whether this helps or not, Deb.
Well, I'm not a young person.
Well, let's have a guess. I mean, whether young people need to see graffiti. This is the problem with the argument, Yasmin, is we think young people can't get excited unless it's graffiti.
A church or a mosque or a temple should be for everybody. And Deb, they'll wash this off. It's a temporary thing. But it's really important to keep places alive. And, Thomas of Becket, I mean, what happened to him? Remember that.
But they are for everyone.
A horrible history.
Well, hang on, do we need to remind people? Because going back away, I mean, this show has a
she
history of doing very old stories. But
she did mention
No, I know. I just wonder if we shouldn't take it for granted that people...
Religious places have had
Was he
dark
killed because,
histories.
is it Henry VIII said, which king was it? Who said, who will rid me of this turbulent... Do you know, Deb, which king was it who got rid of Thomas of Becket? I don't think it was William the Conqueror.
I don't. No, I'm sorry, I've forgotten.
I think it was Henry II.
Where's Tessa Dunlop when you need her?
And he said, who will rid me of this turbulent priest?
So
and
these
some
are
people
places
overheard,
that
they
have
thought,
known blood.
But the point... But the point is, Jeremy, you're right to say young people are going back to church. I started going back to church roughly a year ago. And it wasn't...
You're young.
And I'm young-ish.
Well, you are.
And it wasn't because I needed some sort of graffiti art in there to make me feel like I wanted to go. I wanted to go because I felt like the world is in such a perilous position. I wanted something a bit more positive to believe in than just this kind of everything's getting worse thing that's happening. And people are going back to church because they want something to believe in, not because of all of this virtue signalling. We're going to put graffiti up and attract the young people.
How do you know they're not young people? Hang on. How do you know they're not young people who will be excited by this and go in? How do you know that?
I talk to a lot of young people who are going back to church.
Not these people.
And
you are a posh boy. You are a posh boy.
Whatever. Posh, not posh.
But
I talk to all
young people
kinds
like
of people
Times
and
New
no one
Roman.
tells me this is why they go back to church.
Well,
to
some
see
would.
some rubbish graffiti stickers stuck
they're
on a
not
pillar.
Rubbish. Don't insult them. They're not rubbish.
It's
They're
not
really
Banksy,
not
is it?
Well, no, it's a different kind
so it's
of art.
rubbish.
Well,
there's a whole thing called graffiti art. Educate yourself.
I go to Shoreditch, I see the graffiti art. It looks better than that.
Yes.
Oh, it's okay in Shoreditch.
It is, yeah, it's lovely.
I think we'll kick off on this one, I must say. Thanks, Deb. Andrew in Worcestershire, you don't like it either.
No, I think it's disgusting.
Have you been to Canterbury Cathedral at all yourself?
I've been to many cathedrals. I live quite near to Worcester Cathedral. And they
brilliant.
weren't built, and they weren't built for that kind of thing. I mean, let's just raise the bar a little bit. How would a Muslim who's never been to Mecca want this sort of thing daubed on the side of the Holy Temple in Mecca or the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem and any other temple around the world? These are places of worship. If you believe in something, then you believe in it. If you want to entice people back into the church, do it in another way. You don't need to get a can of spray paint out and spray on the inside, even if it is temporary. The building was built because of its beauty. Now it's not. That looks like a railway tunnel, what I'm looking at right now.
Fair enough, but it's as Yasmin's saying, it's a temporary thing. I mean, this does look a bit scrappy. I do think young people like Times New Roman. I think they like an old font. Or Calibri. What's your favourite font? Don't say Comic Sans.
I don't know.
Oh,
I just find
such a
that
font
Helvetica.
ridiculous.
good,
I would love our mosque. Of course, they won't do it. To follow the example of Canterbury. And do something radical. We get
I've got
so
Maria.
comfortable.
Maria's in Portsmouth. I must squeeze her in, if you don't mind the expression. Hello, Maria.
Hello. Look, it's art, and it's in a church, and it's getting us all talking about it. So it's doing its job.
Yeah, but we won't talk about it next time. That's the thing. So this thing of, it's good to get people talking, only goes a certain way.
We've got so much hatred in the world. And look at us. We're laughing. We're giggling. We're saying, should it be there? Shouldn't it be there? We're engaging with each other. It's good.
That's true. We are giggling a bit. You're right. It's all done in a good spirit of fun. But you're not local to Canterbury, Maria, obviously.
No, I'm in Portsmouth. So I'm with the Royal Navy town. Yay!
Way! After the break, that's a good little shout out at the end there. Papers coming, including reports the Chancellor's got another possible tax raid on the wealthy planned.